matching right up. So we're pretty good with our CFMs and airflow.
That's great.
Do you want to pass them out? We'll take a look at them since we have some time on the count.
Yeah. And I'll send them electronically as well. That's it. If anybody has any other questions. We are bringing in a.
Oh.
I want to add that we are bringing in another cleaning company on top of our current cleaning company. We've solidified a grant. They're coming in 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and they are spraying all of the high-touch areas in the classrooms and offices, doors, lockers, and and changing rooms. So we got lucky. We applied for a grant. We got the grant, so we brought them in for extra precaution because of the rising COVID cases throughout the county and the state. So we added that extra layer on top of our current cleaning system as well.
That's cool. You should make sure you mention that in some sort of a blast that goes out to the community next time you pull something together that goes out to everybody.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, and that grant money couldn't have been used towards any of the services they're already doing?
No.
Since they are doing it, because they're already going above and beyond for COVID.
Yes.
But it couldn't be used for some of those above and beyond things, or?
If it was already budgeted in our budget, we could not use it. It was like very specific, and it had to be to bring back the students in the building.
Yeah. Who was the grant for?
It's the not PCCD. Oh God, I have so many of them going on right now. I think it was the GER grant. It's passed through the IU, so the schools
Okay.
all got it too.
Yeah, we just got that. I remember that came up at our last meeting where they were saying, we have to figure out new ways to spend this money. I said, I don't think we'll have
Any
problem
shortage.
figuring out how to spend money. So,
Make sure you guys project okay
Okay,
for the microphone.
sorry.
yeah.
It's the CARES grant.
Oh, okay, cares me.
Yep.
All right.
And it was specific making sure that we have our kids in, which we've been in since September 2nd. So it's just an added layer, which is, great for us.
Super.
I want to go back to this cost on this roofing stuff real quick. I'm looking at the prices. So basically, there's a price here for the new roof, which puts us at about 3.5 million, 3.6. And then what's the difference between the repair and the alternate roof system?
Putting and coating on, we'll bring the warranty back. We'll say that's the alternate roof system.
That's what gives us back our 20 to 30 year warranty. Okay, never mind. I answered my own question.
Yeah.
Forgive me. Which one, why are they recommending we only do the repair and coating at 1.3 rather than just do the 1.8.5?
Well, we went from the least amount of work to if the roof was totally gone, to give us a variety, to give you a variety, so we can go up and patch all the areas. And if you look at the pictures, they took those pictures through satellite. And they zoomed all the way down. You see some of those pictures right down to the drains.
Mm-hmm.
And then they showed where there were areas that we should be looking at.
That's from a satellite?
Wow.
Satellite, yeah.
I'm sure it's a drone, actually.
Well, no, you said satellite.
No, some of them are definitely satellite photos.
Yeah, some of them.
The close-ups are a guy standing there with his
yeah.
camera phone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Or
I don't believe that they're.
What is from-
I think I see Bill's outline.
Yeah. But some of them are definitely drone or satellite photos for sure in the beginning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it would be up to this committee to figure out, is it worth the extra $500,000 to do the extra, you know, and then come back to this board and report after you find out the additional information.
How many square feet of roof are we talking about?
68,000 plus 44,000.
112,000.
So, okay, 100. So it's like, it's $1.30 per square foot.
Oh, there's like a nice chart that'll have all that information for you right here inside the packet that he emailed to us, Mr. Fumo.
Well, I will.
Or he will. He said actually he did not email it. I'm sorry.
Just got these in, I'm gonna,
Could you send it so
I'll
he can
forward to
look
him.
at it now? He's going to send it out now, Mr. Fumo, so that you have an opportunity to review it.
Okay.
I'll give you a little history that I know. When this roof was replaced, it was replaced. And there's that blue wall where the cafeteria is. That's because the architect's engineers screwed up. And they made the cafeteria wall too high because they didn't account for the depth of the main roof. So it's not a clear shot. Who would knee wall in there?
Yep. Yep.
I don't,
you know,
I won't say it for sure, but I'm thinking Dewey had something to do with that.
They wanted, we wanted to bring some more.
Yeah,
an
sure,
engineering
okay.
company.
Oh, are you the person that might not like Dewey?
I am.
Well, do we have an engineer of record, or how does that work? Does the administration just randomly pick someone, or?
Yeah, we don't have any wrong stuff.
I know Quakertown has an engineer, like we have a record, like someone we go to, like, you know, at the moment.
Yeah.
But-
just-
Dewey's a different engineer than we used for the ag building engineer.
Mhm.
Why?
Because they had, well, Bill told me because they had all of our plans already. So we went with because they did this previously. So they were familiar with it. So Bill just wanted to bring someone in because he thought that, we're gonna start putting a 5-year plan together. So we want to try to give you some type of data now. And they came out and did it for us. So
And how much was that they came out and did it for?
I don't know. I didn't get that PO yet.
You didn't get a quote.
I didn't get the,
I haven't talked to, Bill's out, so I.
Bill's been out, basically.
So we don't know how much we paid them to do this report.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you how much maybe beforehand it would be?
Well, I'm sure he did, but I'm not,
Bill has it.
Bill's been working with him, but Bill's been out because of his father.
Mhm.
And it just came in today, this document.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
That's satellite photo. Satellite hit that angle right there.
And got Bill's shadow in it.
Yeah. Cool beans, guys.
Well,
Thanks.
it was requested by the board a few months ago
Oh,
to
yeah.
get somebody in here.
Yeah, no,
So
no,
Bill-
I remember
No,
talking
you're
about
fine.
that. Yeah, you're good. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're good with it.
Yeah, you gotta have a starting point, so that's what we
Mhm.
consider, it's a starting point.
All right, that was it. That concludes the facilities committee meeting.
Does
Yes.
that mean we'll have, just before we close out, what's the end run? The next board meeting, will we have another report? Where are we driving this?
Well, what I want to do is I want to start working on our 5-year capital projects plan, and this
Okay.
would be part of that 5-year capital projects plan. To give estimates, because I don't want to just throw numbers out there. I could say $10 million or $5 million, and it's only,
I'll do it.
and it's only, right now it's at 3.4, whatever it is. So it's just going to give us a good idea of where we can start putting that plan together. And so the districts can start thinking about, are we gonna put $100,000 away, for the next 2 or 3 years or whatever, to start working towards this.
Aside from the roof, What are some of the other capital projects that you foresee on that list of things we need to start planning for?
Well, those 2 AC units over above the cafeteria.
Okay.
Right now, and now that not at all my staff is parking out front, the lower parking lot needs to get repaired. There's a lot of different movement in there, and they're tripping hazards.
Okay.
Also adding safety balusters throughout the front of the building and the side of the building. We were gonna try to get that in this year. We still might be able to, but that's another add-on. And I'm trying to think. You know, really, we're in pretty decent shape.
Weren't we gonna try and get that in with some bond money or something?
Yeah, we're still trying to work on that one.
There is safety bond money, or there's safety grant money too for those baluster. I know in Quakertown, they used boulders too. They used some strategically placed boulders in some places. You might just have some.
Well, we do have boulders back there.
Yeah.
How did the light project go out in parking lots?
Perfect.
It's done?
Yep. Totally done. We got our money back, and it's all the lights on the inside are done. All the lights on the outside are done. That's been done quite a while. So
Good.
yeah, they did. He did a great job with that.
So Jeff, you're gonna do a systems survey, right? You're gonna go do every system and the life of every system, like whatever. The air condition should last 30 years and they're in good shape. And then in 30 years, to replace that, you extrapolate out from what it costs today.
Yeah, like
Right, you'll do that with every single system.
Well, like I said earlier,
What?
Like I said earlier, the majority of our systems were put in when they did the renovations 6 years ago. So
Okay.
that's a plus for us. So the systems that I'm talking about are the ones that are 25 years old that are limping along right now, which there's two systems over above the cafeteria that will need to be replaced within another year, at least the next year. So we already had SDA go up there, and they're going to give us an estimate, and then we'll bring in a couple other companies to give us estimates on those two systems.
Will you make sure to get quotes from one or two small companies too?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We always look for local people.
Did you send that electronically to them or no?
No, not yet.
Oh, well, I was just gonna ask, when you do, can you include all of us? Because sometimes it's easier for me to
Okay.
use it on my device.
She's not into paper anymore.
No, sometimes I am. Sometimes I want things, I'm picky like that, some things I want paper and some things I want electronically.
She's got a printer like in her car in the trunk.
Oh, it comes right out the dashboard.
It's all Bluetooth. She's like, print comes right out where her glove compartment is.
Jeff, are you going to get an engineer to do this? Or are you going to hire an engineer to do this?
The 5-year plan?
You're looking at it. And I have a great HVAC.
What's that?
I said, I could go up and tell you exactly what we need. And I have a great HVAC and plumbing guy. Why do I want to spend $10,000 or $3,000 for somebody to come in and tell me what we already know?
Well, to Bob's point though, one of the things that we did recently in Penridge, and I think it depends on which engineering firm you use and what exactly you're categorizing it under, but we were able to have them come in and do the whole plan for us and evaluation and everything, and it didn't cost us anything. So if we can get them to do it. No, there was no obligation to do any work, but you do it through Visa. And
But we looked into that
right. It doesn't matter if
because we didn't have enough. I think it was at one point.
right, but that's project by project. But they did the whole thing, which some things would qualify, some things wouldn't qualify. But it still was an evaluation of all the facilities and came up with the 5-year plan. And these are the things that need to be done. And then the board was able to, the board and the administration were able to sit down and say, these things are higher priority than others, and kind of categorize them and put them out. So it might be worth, I can put you in contact with them and you can touch base with them and see if would be able to do the same thing here. 'Cause
And that's
it's-
Giza.
Yeah,
But is that your engineering firm that you guys basically pay a retainer to
We don't-
anyway to have?
we don't pay a retainer, we only pay them if,
No?
first of all, they'll put stuff out to bid for us, we don't even pay, we don't pay unless we agree to do the project.
Yeah, we can put everything out to bid, and if we decide not to do it, we don't pay.
We're putting out huge air conditioning projects right now, to bid, and if we decide, nah, you know what, we're not gonna do that right now, it doesn't cost us anything. It only costs, we only pay for it if we.
They get a percentage of it.
Well, no, if we move forward with their job, right, like if we decide to do the air conditioning job, then what they quoted, presented, and demonstrated to us, and that came in through that bid, if we decide, hey, we want to accept that bid, then yeah, we would pay what was put into that bid.
Jim, there's a kicker in there. We've got to approve the bid,
Mhm.
and there are kickers in that bid number.
Yeah, well, this firm will write up the bid, do the bid work, put it out. And then
That's exactly correct.
when, if the project is approved, they get the engineering work.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if you decide you don't want to, if you
That's the
decide you don't want
beauty.
to move forward.
They're doing all upfront work.
But we're going to agree to do the work because we all know the work needs to be done, that they're going to tell us it needs to be done. What are we going to do? Not do the
Not
roof?
necessarily, we don't know whether or not we're gonna be able to move forward with these air conditioning projects, or when we're
Or
gonna
the
move forward
roof.
with them.
And so what is the terminology about, like, are we restricted from moving forward with those projects without using them, moving forward? It just sounds like no one's going to come in and do hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of work for you for free. Right? So
I think what they're saying is, if you like what we present to you and we do a good enough job, you're going to want to follow through with it.
Right, and
If it's a project that you wanna follow through with,
like, we
but,
also put 5 out to bid, they did everything for 5, and then we picked 3, and then we don't pay them the other 2. Well, we could have, it could be a mix and match.
but what are you going to do when you take one of those other two things and go do it on your own? Go take it out the bid on your own, or go fix it on your own,
Well,
like without them. You understand?
yeah, but they're just the engineer, so you're still putting it out to bid, and you're still bidding it out to whoever the lowest bidder is on whatever that project is, so why would you not, like, it doesn't make sense to go out and do
You
it a
can't
second
cut them out of the
time.
deal.
Right, but you wouldn't want to, why would you want to? Then you'd be paying a second engineer to come out and redo what they already did to put it out to bid again.
I guess I'm
It
saying
goes into
it would be a
bidding
project
process.
that you would need to pay another engineer for, something that we would do internally, because,
Right, but there may be things that they recommend that you decide, you know what, that's not something we, like air conditioning is an example, because it's not, if you don't already have air conditioning, right, it's optional. Adding additional parking lots is something that we're looking at. If we decide, you know what, that didn't come back in the range that we expected, so we're not gonna move forward with that parking lot project, then we don't move forward with that parking lot project. But
Is there any way, I mean, to me, that sounds interesting. You mentioned it before in another meeting. Is there any way you get a representative in there and talk to the facilities committee just to see,
that's a
to
great,
clear us, that,
we can have them
the
come to
what?
the presentation if you want at the next facilities meeting.
I'm sure they would come.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll just put Megan on it.
Well,
and-
not the next,
who's actually on the facilities committee? Megan, Chris, and who else?
not the next meeting.
Uma.
All right, why don't you guys figure out what you want to do, and the rest of us will be
Hey,
quiet.
I'll hear a presentation if
Yeah, I think it's,
some more food.
I'd like to hear it sounds interesting to me.
I'll even come and watch.
Oh, that's
All right.
funny.
If there's food.
All right,
You heard the committee.
sounds good. I'll put you in contact with them.
All right, I believe at this juncture, we're going to close up this meeting finally.
Yes.
All right, cool. Moving on to finance, right?
Okay, so tonight, we want to bring to you a discussion on the radio replacement. We've been having some issues with mistransmissions and frequent static that interferes with the communications from one end of the property to the other. So,
What committee are we on?
finance.
Still gotta pay
We're going to
for
talk
that
about
stuff.
walkie-talkies?
Well, it's
I wanna
all
see the
kind of
price
looped in. Where do you want that one to fall under? So when we were getting one of the other grants, we had started looking into a way to replace, the radios. And during that time, Dennis discovered that we are not registered with the radios that we're using through the FCC. So that application will be about $2,000. And to make our existing system reliable, it'll cost about $9,500. But with the FCC licensing, the radios that we have still might not be able to work with that licensing. So we did get a quote for, to replace all the radios on campus. Now, mind you, everyone here has a radio, all staff have radios here, and so does the law enforcement kids. So everybody's in contact with them. So it'll be $22,000 to replace the whole radio system.
My question is, could that also come from those safety grants?
Well, we've used all of our funds up at this point, so we have no other grants at this point available to us. So, I mean, there's times like Jeff and I were walking around with the insurance guy, his radio dies, the battery wasn't holding a charge. So it's just.
I know cell phones don't work very well here, so,
That is
you know,
true, too.
it's also, it is a big safety
It is.
concern too, just to be able to communicate from one side of the building to the other.
And a lot of times our kids are outside doing projects too, so like the teacher will have the radio when they're outside, so it's not like they're in the classroom next to a phone all the time either. So, I mean, you know, not this year, the kids would be up in the barn or anything, but, you know, we are kind of spread out and not really contained in the building all the time.
Too bad all the Radio Shacks closed. That was the perfect place.
So what I was kind of proposing is because of the wireless project that we had done, if you remember, we budgeted the $58,000 for the project. We went out and got the E-rate funding, which was supposed to come in at 50 to 70%. And with that all being done, it looks like the project actually is going to come in a lot less than we anticipated, and it's going to be under $10,000 for that project because of the E-rate funding.
That's a great,
It was
Yeah.
a huge savings. So I really wanted to get the recommendation from the finance committee and then the board to move forward using some of that savings to replace the radio system.
Well, when you say savings, we were expecting to get that E-rate funding, weren't we?
Not as much as we did. We were still expecting it to be about $19,000 to $20,000, and the project came in about $4,000, and we're still waiting for the company to bill us their portion. So it's definitely going to be under the $10,000 mark. Probably closer to $8,300.
I thought I remember us expecting to get maybe like half back or something like that, or.
So
There was also concerns with whether or not we were actually gonna get, because we got it pretty late in the game. So we had to, there was also some uncertainty as to whether or not we were gonna get the E-rate funding. Fortunately,
They wouldn't run out of money.
Yeah, so fortunately, we got everything in time and we did get approved, and like Teresa said, it was a pretty significant savings on the entire project.
So you're hoping to use some of that money to replace our radio system?
that is correct.
Is this, you're the technology man, is this what you would do with the radios?
Absolutely, yeah.
He wrote the
No
proposal.
offense, I didn't know. Nate, this is your plan.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Now,
Not that I didn't think that you were well versed in your radios, but
No.
funding might.
Teresa, can you clarify one thing for me, please? The funds that you're talking about, would this be enough to fully cover these new radios?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the warranty on this system? On our existing system? No, the new system. So, that's actually good. So really the only thing that we're going to be buying is radios. There isn't any other equipment involved in it. And to be honest, I really don't know what the standard warranty on the individual radios are, but I can certainly ask, the sales rep for that, and then I can send an email to the JOC email group and let you know. But like I said, the only hardware that we're looking to purchase are the physical radios themselves, which I would, if I had to guess, I would say somewhere like a 2-year. But obviously if the clip breaks, or, you know, if there's accidental damage, you know, things like that aren't going to be covered. But if the radio itself malfunctions, you know, and the gentleman that we're working with, the company that we're looking to buy from, actually, I got their contact from DIU, BCIU. So, and I know the BCIU is a pretty big customer of them, so I think this guy's taking really good care of us. And you know, if we needed to get some radios swapped out because of a hardware failure. That was not our fault. Yeah, I would imagine that they were working with those pretty
Just-
well.
Our primary issue with them now, just the battery life is too
Not
short.
necessarily, so right now, so there's two big issues. The one big issue is, I was unaware that I'm not a radio band expert, I will admit that. But so apparently we need to get licensing for the frequency that we're using for the radio. So
Yeah, I
right now
believe if
we are-
you're above 5 watt or 15 watts or something, it's.
Yeah, so right now we are unlicensed on the frequency that we're using. So the number one thing is that we would have to get registered with the FCC and to use the frequency. One of the possible side effects of that is we may not be able to get the same frequency that our current radios can support. So let's say that we get a frequency outside of the supported band of our current existing radio system or our existing radios. Then we would have to replace the radios regardless. One of the big issues with the analog system that we're currently running is that if you are, let's say, animal tech is up at the barn, and there's a lot of times when, people are trying to get in touch with Melissa, there's static, sometimes drop transmission and things like that. So we were actually given some test radios, the exact ones that we're looking to buy, and we were able to test them when I was up at the white barn. The other gentleman in the IT department, Adrian, he was down at Melissa's desk, heard each other loud and clear, no interruptions, anything like that.
So are there any other makes and models that are comparable that you would want to, like, I would want to get multiple prices for multiple companies, for multiple different radios to compare the, the quality, the cost, the warranties.
We got a volunteer,
all of
Dennis.
that information.
Yeah, so I really just worked because we got the contact from the IU, so that, I will be honest, that is the only place that I've gotten a price for these radios. I will definitely see if I can find, other digital radios that, that we can use, that would be of similar quality. But these are Motorola radios. I mean, Motorola is pretty king when it comes to radio equipment.
It would just be real beneficial to get another set of numbers,
Absolutely.
just from the standpoint of
Yeah, I understand.
documentation and verification.
I did have another question too about the frequency, getting it licensed. Like I said, I mean, it's been a real long time since I've even thought about radios. So, but I know.
Right, that's unlike my CB
Yeah,
radio.
They had a thing where you would have to buy a license if you broadcast with a certain amount of watts, a certain power, which would cover a certain range.
Right.
But I also believe that in a system like this, so like ambulance companies and police officers, they have the one big antenna that covers the whole community. But an area like this, you could actually put repeaters in and have smaller zones that you necessarily don't have to buy one giant, and they would repeat from one to the other to the other.
Yeah,
And
so-
you wouldn't have to broadcast one big.
Yeah, so we did look at, and with the size of our campus, because I did talk to the salesperson about this, about, possibly instead of getting new radios, is putting in a repeater. I believe that the cost of each repeater would be $3,000 to $5,000 depending.
so it's not-
And then also, and then also,
There's gotta
we
be
would
some
also
huge
put in-
markup on that.
Mr. Sweden just brought up the whole roofing project, we would have to be putting more holes in the roof, and I think that that's one of the last things that we want to be doing right now with everything that's going on with our roof. So yeah, I did explore that avenue, but I really, and again, like, one of my biggest fears with staying the analog radio route is that we have no idea what frequency we're gonna get from the FCC. And my big fear would be, we spend the $2,000 just even for the application fee for that, and then we find out that we have to get new radios anyways, because our radios do not support the whatever frequency we're awarded from the FCC.
So with the digital, we don't need to buy a frequency?
That's what I was told from our sales guy. Yeah, if we're using the digital radios, we will not have to register a new band.
It does say on here, FCC license free.
So I kind of agree with Megan, of course. Two other numbers, small, medium, large,
Sure.
high option, medium option, low option,
Okay.
I agree as well.
Does it make sense to go out to bid? Does it make sense to use one of our big competitive?
I think This is the kind of thing that you can just get some quotes, get the,
And just so everybody,
Professional
so
service.
the quote that we did receive is under the CoStar's contract also, so.
that was, I was
Okay,
gonna
that was
say.
my next
Yeah,
question.
yeah, so it is under the CoStar's contract.
Okay, yeah, I think if they know you're just looking with them, you might get a different number than if they know that there's some competition. And I don't know,
These are CoStar numbers.
$3,000 a repeater
Yeah,
sounds
CoStar,
expensive.
yeah.
So CoStar's already done all that.
right, but sometimes they'll still give you a little bit better than what's in the CoStars. And again, I don't know if there's other equipment options too. What's the better equipment with the better deal and
Right.
that kind of stuff, because that would be different numbers.
It may be beneficial for you to also talk to some other people.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
School protection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, Motorola is pretty,
Motorola.
is pretty king when it comes to the
You
radio.
know, as far as equipment goes, yeah, but, but like you said, this is 100-year-old technology, so, you know, there is a lot of different equipment up there with options for, you know, for not just the hand radio parts, but the broadcast parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
could-
Well, and
Could
I
save money.
also want to throw it in there that, one of the, another reason why we're looking to go this route, is because the IU is actually already looking to be putting an antenna for their radio network, so they have a completely separate radio network from what we're talking about. But they are looking to put an antenna on our campus to support their radio network, and then what we would be hoping to, because, you know, we're hosting your guys' little radio tower here, we would want to be able to get radios to tap into their radio network. So that way, if Mr. Sweeto's out at Penridge, you know, then we would still be able to contact him via radio. We even talked about possibly getting a radio for the police department, you know, so then that way we could, you know, more rapidly communicate with them. You know, so then that just kind of gives us a little bit more portability, instead of just being married to this campus, you know, for radio communication.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the question, finance committee recommends moving forward looking into the replacement of the radios.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not on the fence. Yes.
But that's good, thank you.
Yeah, but is there, are we gonna put a caveat in there that we're gonna get some
We
additional
weren't
information?
looking.
They're gonna come back.
Yeah, we weren't looking to purchase anything. I was just
Okay,
trying
no,
to
all
get
right,
the
all right,
finance
yeah,
committee
I say yes.
to
No
say
problem.
that it was okay to start kind of
Great.
moving forward, looking into that.
Sorry about
Okay.
that.
No, that's okay. So then we also wanted to talk about substitute rates and facilitators and the policy 626. So do you want to do policy first, I guess? Mr. Holliday?
Sure.
All right, so policy 626, I am asking to kind of get fast tracked. We'll talk again if you want in the policy committee about it. It's basically regarding the federal fiscal compliance. The tech school does not have a policy regarding that at all yet. And we have the Perkins audit coming up in January, so I really wanted to make sure that we do have those policies in place. It's going to be regarding cash management, subsistence monitoring, procurement, allowability of costs, and cost obligations. So I don't know how much you want to.
Did you have PSBA assistant
The
in
SBA
this?
is the one that sent it out to say that this was a new policy that, well, it's been revised and it's new. And when it came out, I wanted to make sure that we got it on the books, because we do not have it on the books at all. So it's basically with internal controls, transparency, accountability, and documented procedures using federal funds.
Which is what we have to do by federal law.
And this was all written by PSBA?
That is correct. I mean, we did go through and decide who was going to be like the business manager or the federal programs coordinator or the executive director, like who was going to be doing those responsibilities. But other than that, that was pretty much a boilerplate. They were boilerplate policy.
And surprise, Dave Monolith, your name is on all of them.
So then, anybody have any questions now, or do you want to discuss it more during policy? That will be up for policy, because I'm going to ask that it be approved in December, right? It's kind of
was first reading, but we'll still allow for public input. This will be discussed if you choose to move, and then it'll be published, so the public will comment.
So in here, it changes the designee from the executive director to the federal programs coordinator. Who's that be?
Mike is the federal programs coordinator with a big smile on his face.
He wasn't here when they were putting it. giving it out.
On there giving out roles. Another certification you got to get every 2 years.
I found the PSBAs to be very complete and well done with these types of things. Is that your opinion of this?
Yes.
One of the things though, just because this is policies you don't change frequently, just to that point, I know what we have in our, the way we've done our policies, and I don't know if that's the same way other districts have done theirs, is it would say the superintendent or his or her designate. So if we did that, then that gives Jeff the ability to designate it to Mike, and it also, if
We eliminate that position.
yeah, right, like if different people are in different positions in the future and that changes, it makes it easier for that to not require policy changes. It puts it in the executive director's hands to just.
But are you required to have somebody with that title for those programs, for those grants?
Well, if you put the
Right.
title in the policy, yes.
Right.
Who
Well,
decides who is the federal programs coordinator? Director? Is it
Or
something you decide, or is it?
or did the federal program require that you have a federal programs coordinator? I guess is the other question, the other side of it.
Well, Mike is already listed as that with Perkins as the federal programs coordinator.
Well, Megan makes a good point. So we should have flexibility to change if we have to need to.
Well, I don't think there's any. You can change who,
So wherever
you
it
can
is,
change who the coordinator is now. Administratively.
Yeah.
So I don't
but I
see any
I
issue
see
with it.
maybe where it says like business manager or designate. So
Yeah.
wherever we have it, it's going to be or designate.
Are you good with that?
Yes.
Yeah, but it has to be clear that the person who's designating is the executive director, right? Just because otherwise we don't know who
Well, the
decides
board
who
needs to approve
designate
it.
is, right?
The board needs to approve whoever that person is.
Well,
So
no, if we just approve that it's the executive director or his designee, then he can designate it as he sees fit. Going forward. So if there's ever a need for change, it doesn't require a whole policy change to be able to do that. That's all.
Why are they changing it from the administrative director, executive director to the federal programs coordinator or designee?
No, I think we were just doing that.
To align it with
So-
Perkins.
So what I'm saying is rather than making that an official policy change, if we just say executive director or designee, he can designate it to the federal programs coordinator. But then if later that needs to change at some point, we don't have to re-vote on a policy to change it again.
Yeah, that would be if Mike left. For whatever reason, we don't want to see it happen, but if you would leave, you have to go back and this way, giving it to Jeff.
It's,
Jeff makes a
I-
sign off. with a smooth transition.
We're beating this to death. I think
Yeah, we certainly are.
the suggestion that the executive director or designee is fine. That's enough. It does everything.
today.
Whenever I go into
Yeah.
Perkins, I have to fill all of those blocks in
So,
every year,
You want
yearly.
it reversed.
With
back
every
to executive
Perkins,
director.
I go in every year and I have to update it, so. Mike was assigned it, he was updated last year and, that's just what the Perkins saw his name, Dr. Herrera's name.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, and that still makes perfect sense, and this still allows him to completely do that. I just want there to be flexibility in the future. What if he's out on a leave or something? at some point?
Okay, we're cool. We're moving on, guys. We're gonna get it fixed for the next reading and then we can approve it.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, and then the next thing up is the substitute rates. So as everyone, we are,
Do you have a copy of that, their current rates
they're current, like as of right now.
Yeah. on a hard
I saw that.
paper?
Where did I see that?
I don't remember, and that's why I asked her if she had a copy, so I gotta look at it. If we're gonna talk about it, I gotta look at
I do, mine is very scribbled on. Do you have? Which one?
So somebody sent us something, I saw it.
I have the proposed one. Is that what you want to propose?
Do you have paper of them? Like what it is currently or what we want to propose, just so we can see it, because there's no attachment to here.
You want to continue screen? Is that too?
I don't, yeah. I don't know. This one? Yeah. Let me save what I just did.
I have to see it, I can't talk on this without seeing.
It's not on the board docs.
I know.
I saw it somewhere today on my computer.
I can hold it up to my camera and then everybody can see it. It's right here. It'll probably be backwards, forward.
Well, obviously, that's if we have an electronic copy, whoever hasn't shared this thing.
Over here, Dennis. You can figure it out. Go ahead. There it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We make it look so easy.
Jeff, have you gone into executive session?
Not yet. We're
Okay.
trying to get through this.
All right, and then where's the proposed, what you want to move them to? Or do you not want to move them? Did you not make us?
Wait, is he saying that because this should be an executive?
That's what I was
Yeah.
just gonna ask. Yeah, I don't believe, maybe we shouldn't be broadcasting.
No, because it's
No.
not a specific person.
Public information, all this stuff.
Right, if
Substitute
you're staff-
rates.
Been board approved and out there.
Right, all that stuff is,
It's the facilitator.
Yeah, but I didn't know if the discussion is supposed to be, I didn't know if that was why he chimed in, that's all.
Yeah,
are we talking about Ellis?
Yeah,
yes.
where did he go?
You can
He's
ask.
right there.
Alice, are you saying this should be, do you want this to be executive session discussion?
Well, I mean, if you're going to be talking about the wages for current individual employees of the school, you should have that conversation in executive session. If you're talking just generically about, like the substitute compensation moving forward, and it's not going to affect any individuals within the school, then you can have it in an open session.
Well, it would affect any individuals who currently fall under it, so. So should we just,
But
why
it's
don't we just move it to executive session and then?
No.
I don't think that's, are we only gonna talk about substitute rates in this conversation?
Cafeteria manager or the,
Alright.
we're not talking about a specific facilitator, we're talking about facilitators in general.
All right, let's table it till executive.
Good idea.
Okay, next.
Okay.
But can we have that paperwork then, for when we go in there, like, can you print that? Yep. Thank you.
Okay, and then for grant information, we received the PERC grant information, which was propane education HVAC. We received a $10,000 award for purchases for schools and appliances. And that was a thank you to Mr. Wooliang and Ms. Reese for bringing that up. We also submitted for the equipment grant, for the matching grant. We received a employee health grant through Divot to promote employee wellness during the workday. We submitted for the CARES grant and we did get that. Yeah. Individual budget meetings are underway and the audit is complete. We're waiting for the financials to be reviewed. So hopefully by next month, I'll be able to have the all the audit information together, and the Perkins audit again is in January. So
We all set for that?
we're working on it.
All right. If you need me for anything, signatures or whatever, let me know.
And was there any questions on the bill?
For you. Whoever's doing it.
Look good to me.
Okay. And then
Looks good to you.
that's it for finance.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is well. for November policy updates, we have 3 policies that we're looking for the second reading. Some policies for the first reading, and then policies which are discussed in committee. Policies that we're asking the committee to adopt at tonight's agenda is lesson plans, guidance counseling plan, and special education. Our lesson plans, I want to thank our dedicated, talented staff for their efforts in creating learning guides and lesson plans.
We have that?
It's on the shared doc.
Yeah, which number, could you
Okay.
announce the numbers?
Yes,
Yeah.
so right now it's lesson plans. So all of these policies were ones that were reviewed in board docs. That's why
111.
Yes, this is 111 lesson plans. I wanted to just share an example of, this happens to be Mr. Matthias from Mechatronics. We have objectives in CTE. All of our curriculum is aligned to tasks, which is identified. We have academic standards integration, which is so important in career tech ed. Instructional practices. When we talk curriculum, it's curriculum, instruction, and assessment. We have adaptations for our students, special needs populations, 504, IEPs, etc. Assessment is a key component. Safety is paramount in career tech ed. Friday, we have an OSHA walkthrough tour. We go above and beyond, even during COVID. The resources and equipment needed to deliver the lesson. If we look at part of our NOCI continuous improvement plan, we have a question of the day, math problem, vocab, that specialized vocabulary is key components. And along with, as an example, in terms of instructional strategies, the performance, there's theory, and then there's hands-on. So that here's an example of the hands-on areas. So again, this is lesson plans. I just wanted to show you, and we don't thank our staff enough for the dedication and time put into planning great lessons. And it's nothing better, more to see the magic happen with students engaged, which I get to see every day.
And that certainly helps when a teacher's absent or has to go on leave as well, having a detailed lesson plan.
Yes, and we also have the sub-plans, et cetera. And part of our NOCI continuous improvement plan is, again, the reflection on that, what works. We're very meticulous and we're very calculated in the delivery of instruction. We have data that goes back 4 years, which we reviewed and analyzed. So we're data informed, not necessarily data driven. That is important.
Can you open that again?
Which one? The guides?
Yeah.
Okay.
So was this lesson plan carried over from like the book or Mr. Pasante? Or is this all original lesson plan that our new mechatronics teacher wrote?
Yes, all of our lesson plans are original. We, the board, which our staff appreciated, we went with guides for learning, which, so there's a couple different entry points with the curriculum. Some staff members use textbooks, some staff members use the task list and built a curriculum. But early in the year, we had 3 days of professional development where we put together guides to deliver a curriculum. And it's nice to have a centralized system in place. So when the audits come in, we have it in one-stop shopping. And again, if there's a new staff member that is starting, they're not starting from scratch. They have a starting point, and there's continuous reflection on those lesson plans.
Does everybody participate? Do all the teachers generally participate in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Built in.
That's voluntarily, right? It's voluntary, right?
No, we built it into our professional development. Our professional development model is it's job embedded, it's ongoing.
Okay.
And so that's important. And I'd like to thank a couple staff members, Mr. Guest, Mr. Caleb Miller, who offered professional development over the course of this year, offering their expertise with that. So again, it's helping, it's the teachers helping each other.
Good. That's the way I think it should be.
And isn't there like a knocking board, like a qualification or a certification that this stuff needs to be there?
Yes.
For you to meet as well.
Yes. We were acknowledged by NOCTI, the president of NOCTI, John Foster. Bucks County Technical School was placed out there as a best practice on the website. And I'd be happy to share that. So Bucks County, a great state of Pennsylvania, doing great things, and he promoted us on his website, NOCTI.
That's really nice to hear. That's great. Great work, guys. Jeff,
Thank you.
for getting all the, before you came here, I think lesson plans were not so popular. They probably are not popular now, but we at least see more of them.
Okay, our guidance plan, we have like up descending school districts. We're working closely with Enrich, Quakertown, and Palisades, especially for enrollment, marketing. We've placed a big emphasis on career counseling, et cetera. I recently had a meeting with the assistant soups. That went well. So there's an alignment. Not much changes, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that policy. And special ed, again, there's not some major differences. This is the second reading. I put a guide in there through Patton. We're working closely with the IU and intermediate unit. As a staff, we participated in executive function skills training. So great things are happening at the tech school. Does anyone have any questions on any of these policies tonight that are on the agenda? Okay, moving forward, first reading, which we discussed these policies at committee. We have discipline, students with disabilities, no major changes, behavior support, confidentiality, and work-based learning. We're very proud to state that this year we have 55 students out on co-op. So it's nice for the JOC to see how the policies that you've shaped, the benefits that come from that. We're working on placing additional 20 students out on co-op, and this is during the pandemic. If you look on our website, we have placed our co-op job handbook. And this is so there's a policy, there's reg, and there's procedures. We posted this. I'm going through this, but I think Mrs. Reese, we put this together a few years ago. You see a lot of the legalities. We always have the students' safety, best interest at heart in placing them. So it's a best practice. During COVID, so I post a monthly newsletter. We're on social media a lot. This year, Mrs. Reese sent the pictures and the description, and we've invited the parents for that placement meeting. We cover COVID. The company provides that, but it's become a best practice. A couple of the neighboring CTCs are a little upset because now they're saying, oh no, we have to follow upper box. So I think that's important. And based on Mr. Khan's recommendation, we added a statement about the region continues to grapple with the spread of COVID-19. Please see the safety requirements for the employer your child is visiting through the cooperative program.
Are the other CPCs back in? Are they still virtual? Both?
Yes. And then the programming is just simply 118 is going to be deleted and merged with 126. Does anyone have any questions on the first reading policies? Hearing none tonight in committee. We're here to discuss field trips, summer school, and class size, quotas, the assessment system. To the point, we were ahead of the curve. And here was on the NOCTI website about us being at the head of the curve. Homework, projects and service, which is a little is really live work. And our live work policy, which allows our students to do real world work experience in the program areas. And as Teresa stated, policy 626. So does anyone have any questions on any of these in committee?
There's not too much detail. How are we changing the policy on class size quotas or whatever you call it?
The highlighted words, the bolded words, they're really, it doesn't look like any meat of it is changing, just some wording.
But you didn't give us the wording there.
Are you looking at the policies, the draft versions?
I'm looking at that.
Oh.
Yes, this is where PSBA cross-reference, this is a cross-reference document. Mr. Spear is talking about if we go into the document.
Policies and a board doc.
Board docs under draft.
How do we get the draft? Their policies.
I can help you out. Turn my video on. So you get a policy, are you logged in?
Yep. Well, I thought I was.
You get policies? No, I don't believe you are. You gotta log in. Programming, so that's, yeah. And then when you're logged in, you can see the draft. You don't know you. That's why I bring my own laptop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know what my login is either, but I have it saved in there, so.
Oh, I always have to look
Oh,
back
no.
and click passwords and plug it in for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're using their laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to remember what it is.
So that's why.
Are you on the Wi-Fi here?
You sent me from the Wi-Fi with my district.
You could do that. I might be putting that down. There you go.
We just cover the
Yeah,
desk.
it's gonna have like and the screens in front of you. Let's just put them those hovering things to get.
Oh, yeah.
Just point to things.
We're good.
Okay, great.
Bluetooth installed in my brain.
So with the committee's approval, we'll move all of these up, and I thank you for the time.
Oh, yes.
Are we moving for executive session or are we staying here?
Staying here.
We stay there.
Okay.
So you're gonna kick everyone else out?
I'll do that breakout room.
I did have a question for somebody not in the room here, for Bob Fumo or Robert Linden. Can you hear us okay? Do we sound okay? Is everything working before we go into our main meeting?
Yeah, you sound fine. I have a question for Rob Fumo. Is he taking requests?
That's going on over there, Bob.
Huh?
What you up to?
We had board meeting last night and Bob was in his car.
All right. Are we done?
Yep.
That's subcommittee meeting. All right. Good. Probably be the last time I get to do that. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in with us. I apologize for our late start time. We had a very extended executive session this evening with lots of issues to discuss. And of course, as you know, they're all very important. We're going to get started today with the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that I feel is done.
It's a delay.
All right, and we will begin with a roll call, Tracy.
Mr.
Here.
Mr. Hallowell,
I am here.
Ms. Vanis Clemens here. Mr. Cormack,
Here.
Ms. Dolan here. Mr. Fumo,
He was
Here.
Mr. Spear,
Here?
Mr. Ott,
Here.
Mr. Klein is here.
Mr. Klein, thank you. That's 9.
Okay. At this time, we will recognize any comments from the audience on any of the agenda items. Do we have anybody that sent? So if you wanted to say anything, please queue up that you wanted to say something in the chat comments so I could call on you. Were there anybody that emailed any comments ahead of time or that put in to speak?
There are no emails.
Okay.
Is there something in the chat?
All right. Is there anybody who would like
It
to
was just
speak?
about sound. Now it's working. It was muted.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. Announcement, executive session. As I mentioned earlier on, we did have an executive session where we discussed human resources and finance issues. Tell us, did I get them?
Personnel issues and legal issues.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and discuss administrative reports. Student of the month, Jeff.
Start with student of the month there, Chris.
Mike?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending tonight's JOC meeting, both near and far. I am Chris Gentileza, CTE Supervisor Principal for the Upper Bucks County Technical School, and I have the pleasure of announcing our school's Student of the Month for November. Hayden Moore, the senior in the Electrical Technology program, has been selected as the Upper Bucks County Technical School's Student of the Month for November. Hayden is the son of Joshua and Tiffany Worth of Sellersville, and he attends Penridge High School. Upper Bucks County Technical School Electrical Technology instructor Mr. Craig Guest nominated Hayden for his outstanding performance in class, at the work site, and in the community. At Upper Bucks County Technical School, Hayden has been enrolled in the Electrical Technology program for the past 4 years. He has earned his 10-hour OSHA safety certification and has become a leader in the Electrical Technology classroom where he serves as foreman, taking on additional responsibilities. Hayden has recently been hired and started employment with Crivello Electric, located in Quakertown, through the Upper Bucks County Technical School Cooperative Education Program. Hayden volunteers for families in need through his local church and assists the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. He has served as a classroom presenter and established a fundraiser at Penridge South Middle School entitled Dodgeball for Diabetes. After graduating from Upper Bucks County Technical School and Penridge High School, Hayden will explore various employment opportunities, including apprenticeship. Hayden, if you're with us tonight, and I believe I saw that you were with your family, on behalf of myself, the administrative team, Joint Operating Committee, and staff at Upper Bucks County Technical School, congratulations and best of luck in your future endeavors. Hayden, if you're with us, would you like to comment, say anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for the honor. And it's been a lot of fun being a part of the tech school these past 4 years. And I appreciate all the help that I've had from everyone. And I just want to say thank you again.
You're welcome.
Congratulations and great job.
Sorry we made you wait too.
Thanks, Hayden. We're happy to have you, obviously, as part of our student body. And again, best of luck with everything.
Before you go, Hayden, I was curious about the fundraiser you did for the Dodgeball for Diabetes. How'd that go? And how many times have you done that?
It was good. We started that back in 2017. And then, so last year we couldn't really do it because of COVID. It happened right around the time that we would have had that. But I think in 2018, we got on channel 69 News, and the news came and recorded everything. And then we raised over $1,800 for diabetes research. So that was really good.
That's great. That's great. Great work, Hayden.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us, and you're welcome to stick around and You're also, it's not necessary. If you wanted to leave, that's okay. We won't hold it against you. Thank you so much. All right.
Great.
Jeff?
Thank you, Hayden. Next, we're gonna talk about our donation report. We had a donation of a new Cummins PX9 engine to our diesel technology program from Coopersburg and Liberty Kenworth. An estimated value of the engine is $19,982.10. We also had a huge donation for our HVAC and plumbing program from Ferguson HVAC, worth estimated value of $65,000 worth of HVAC and plumbing equipment. I have to really, we're grateful of our local businesses coming in and helping our students and understanding that their product is going to be in a lot of our students' hands, and this is really going to help our programs excel and become the best in the state of Pennsylvania, and that's our goal here. Again, thank you to the Fergusons and Coopersburg Liberty Kenworth for their generous donations for our program. Next, we're going to talk about our joint operating committee meeting. Our next joint operating committee will be via Zoom, November 24th, and that'll be at 2 p.m.
I have a question about that. That was 2 p.m. That seems like an odd time for people that work.
We usually have them at noon.
Oh, okay. Well, if they're used to it then. I just thought that seemed like an inconvenient time for people that work.
Well, they'll be at work, so.
It's via Zoom.
I know, but like I couldn't stop doing your meeting at work, could you?
She's like, I own the place. I couldn't possibly make somebody else do it.
One person operation.
Yeah,
I'll be in Hartford.
I show your work at. It shows your work at. I get it.
All right.
All right.
Okay, next we have our apprenticeship program. We celebrated National Apprenticeship Week by highlighting our careers in Construction Alliance. The Alliance is a collaborative effort between the Upper Bucks County Technical School, Associated Builders of Contractors, Eastern Pennsylvania Chapter, ABC, 500 regional commercial construction employees and local high schools to promote careers and employment opportunities within the construction industry. It was great to hear the stories of employees like Clover Contracting offering job experience and career opportunities for students in our communities. It's very, very inspiring, and we do have multiple students working at Clover, through our apprenticeship and through co-op. Our pre-NOCTI, we're probably one of the only school in Career and Tech Center in Pennsylvania that did take the pre-NOCTI test. And, I have to, put a kudos out there to all of our instructors, our facilitators. COVID hit March 13th, the day that it ended. So that means our seniors and juniors last year missed about 10, 11 weeks of school, 12 weeks of school of prep. They came back in September 2nd, thanks to JOC and my health and safety plan. We wanted to make sure that they were coming in face to face and be safe. Out of 148 test takers, we had 84 of those students that scored advanced, which is at about 55%. And we had 48 of those students scored competent. So between competent and advanced, we had 89% percentage between competent and advanced. Of those 48 students that were competent, 38 of them are 5 percentage points away from being advanced. So our NOCTI improvement plan that we implemented a year ago, we are starting to see the fruits of our labor and an increase in the scores, and our students are doing fabulous. But then again, it's because of our instructors. So I got to, send the kudos out to all of my instructors that they're doing a great job. And I have to say, I say it over and over, I speak with my kids on a daily basis. They want to be here. They love being here. And they want us to keep going 5 days a week. So We're starting the second quarter already. We're doing 5 days a week, as you know. My HVAC and plumbing students, we're doing real live work. So they installed all 18 of the hands-free water fountains throughout the school. So they did it themselves with the tutelage of Mr. Walyoung, which was great to see them, out in the hallways, in the classrooms, taking the old water fountains out. They ran into a couple of problems, but that's real life, and they fixed it. And now we have hands-free water fountains throughout the building. Another great, one of our machining students, Ray Silfer, he was recognized by the Central Bucks Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations to Ray and his fellow young citizen for being named the 2020 Young Citizen Award recipient by the Central Bucks Chamber of Commerce. Ray is enrolled in our machine technology program and a senior at Quakertown School District. His community involvement includes serving as a Richland Town Junior Firefighter, Troop 87 Junior Assistant Scoutmaster. Ray has earned the rank of Eagle Scout and is a member of the National Technical Honor Society. And he is currently employed by Broccolante Manufacturing Group through the Upper Bucks County Cooperative Education Program. I sent out an invite to the board. We did have a Zoom celebration in here with the state representatives and attorneys in the chamber. It was a nice event via Zoom. Of course, it would have been great to have it in person, but all of the young citizens were recognized, and it's a great, it's great for our school and for Ray, of course, being recognized. And that was brought to the table by our chairperson, asking if we had anyone, and we went out and thank you, Mr. Akmanowitz, for bringing that to our attention. And, and now we have a young citizen. So
I'm glad he won. That's fantastic news. Thank you for taking the time to submit his information, whomever was responsible for that.
Yep. Moving on, Dr. Herrera, he was selected into the ACT National Leadership Fellowship Program. The program identifies, trains, and motivates a large amount of leaders who will continue to advance efforts in which support an educated, prepared, adaptable, and competitive workforce. Region 1 consists of DC, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, PA, Rhode Island, Vermont, and West Virginia, which we can't travel to, but that's in all of your Region 1. So congratulations to Dr. Herrera. Upcoming events, we have 11 on the 20th or next week. We have our safety committee and OSHA school-wide walkthrough. This is a best practice. We bring in OSHA to walk through our school, to walk through our programs, and they will identify any safety hazards. And we're happy to say that when they do walk in, they do not find safety hazards, because we've had them coming in for the past few years, and they're very impressed on what our instructors are teaching our students and how our school is running as far as safety. 12/10, we have open house. It'll be a virtual open house. And I think that would be it for my director's report.
Excellent. I want to add on something there. You had mentioned instructional facilitators earlier on.
Yes.
And I know that you had said that they've been doing a lot of great work with filling in, because we've been having a little bit of a staff shortage, with all the COVID, and a lot of our teachers have been out. We have a lot of transition right now. So I just wanted to take a minute, and I want to thank Desiree Francis and Lisa Natius. Lisa Natius, and then Alex Dadio, Karen Preto, Stephanie Dinsmore, Malcolm McQuarrie, Anita Hendershaw, Carol Sharavello, and Pamela Fisher. They've really gone above and beyond and done a lot of great work over the last few weeks. Thank you so much for your commitment to our organization and the students.
Thank you. We have
We have a 3-minute video, if Dennis, you don't mind, that talks a little bit about National Apprenticeship Week. This went out nationally, and it showcases our partners.
Okay. Oh, we can see those.
It's one day a week that you can just get your schooling done and you're done. And then the rest of the time you are getting that hands-on training that I know I learn better with.
I really like it. I love working with my hands, and I love not having to sit still.
I am so immersed in the construction world, and I am kind of envious of the people out in the field because I think it's so cool what they do.
On behalf of the entire Upper Bucks County Technical School community, it's my pleasure and honor to help celebrate National Apprenticeship Week.
National Apprenticeship Week allows the Upper Bucks County Technical School to showcase the success of our students in apprenticeships with Clover Contracting, all ABC members, and the Association of Builders and Contractors.
I'm glad to join everyone today to celebrate and recognize this week as National Apprenticeship Program Week.
Apprenticeship Week is important, I think, because it creates awareness about the need for creating those skilled workers to fill the skills gap that currently exists.
I believe in technical education and strong apprenticeship programs. In fact, I sponsored Act 76 of 2019 to enhance career and technical education, job training, and workforce development in the Commonwealth.
We're honored to help celebrate National Apprenticeship Week with our community partners. One of the main pillars of the Chamber's mission is workforce development, not only for our current workforce, but our future workforce as well.
You can go through a 4-year program, which is essentially a bachelor's program for a trade with zero debt coming out.
Most college kids come out of college and they have, a big debt and stuff like that. The apprenticeship school, for the most part, is, all paid and done.
It's not quantifiable how much better it would be than learning just in a book.
How do you feel about being a woman in a usually male-dominated industry?
I think it definitely makes it more interesting, and once the guys realize that I can actually hold my own, they definitely respect me a lot more.
What are the 3 things you would tell the younger generation just getting into the apprenticeship that they need to know to be successful?
Show up on time and, work hard. It would definitely pay off in the future.
Getting to see how it is by the book and then actually going out in the field and actually, applying that.
CTE schools like Upper Bucks County Technical School and the ABC School, they're essentially the connective tissue, connecting young people who might be interested in the trades to industry that has the very high demand right now for those young skilled tradespeople.
In addition, the Associated Builders and Contractors and their members provide career nights, construction day events, occupational advisory committee members, classroom presentations. In addition, the Workforce Development Committee provides us an opportunity to engage on a monthly basis with other members in order to keep us current in industry trends.
I'm so appreciative of those folks that act as an example for them, because without them, we wouldn't have the success stories that we have.
The apprenticeship program I've found so far has been very good.
All of those students were all Upper Bucks students that have been working for Fall running the ABC apprenticeship program. If you remember, Representative Stats came in last year and signed that bill in law in our cafeteria. So, Representative Stats is really, vocal and vocal, I should say, and supports us tremendously. So it's great, that we have our students involved with ABC. They're going to be able to go into that apprenticeship program. And we all know that you get into a union type atmosphere, you can make some major money. And we're leading the way with bringing our kids in there, and ABC's recognize that from Upper Bucks. So, a lot of hard work goes in it. Mike's putting a lot of work on it. We all did as a team. So, it's really, like I said earlier, it's paying off, and our kids are benefiting, and that's our goal.
Thank you. Who made the video?
The film was Associated Builders and Contractors. They had a filmmaker who's been on our campus a couple times now, and he's excellent.
thank you for that video. It was great. All right, I think we are now moving into subcommittee reports. Facilities Subcommittee, would you like to go first? Would you like to give a brief report?
Sure. So for facilities, our Hort building, right now I'm hoping that we'll be able to occupy that after sometime soon after Thanksgiving. Still waiting for occupancy permit. Can't allow anyone in there until I get that cleared from the inspectors. There's a few odds and ends that we're working on. And like I said, I'm hoping to get in there after Thanksgiving, which would be great for our students. We also talked about our generator. Our generator was down for a few months. We brought in a company to repair it. And while we were bringing that company to repair it, we had a contract with another company that was charging us an absorbent amount of money. So we brought in another person, and bringing that other person in, saving us approximately $1,652 to come in and inspect. So that was a big savings. And then we talked briefly about doing a roof survey. It just came in today. So we went briefly over that, and we'll be discussing that further on when we put our 5-year capital project plan together.
Thank you very much. Finance Committee, please.
So the Finance Committee, we went over and discussed looking at radio replacement for the campus-wide replacement. The Finance Committee recommended moving forward by looking into additional digital radios and pricing, what the warranties would be, and the cost of receivers. So we will be looking into that information. Policy 626, the committee recommended changing authorization to read the executive director designee, and that has to do with the federal fiscal compliance. So that'll be on December's policy review. We discussed the PERC grant was approved for $10,000 towards tools and appliances for the HVAC class. We submitted a grant for equipment. We submitted and now have been approved for the employee health grant for Divot, and the funds are going to be used to promote employee wellness during the workday. We submitted for the CARES Act grant, and that was also approved. So we received $61,000 in that grant. Individual budget meetings are underway, so we're in the process of pulling the budget together for next school year. And the audit has been completed, and the financials are being reviewed, and I should have that information complete in the December meeting.
Thank you.
The policy committee discussed 3 sets of policies and their impact on the teaching learning process. Tonight, the committee endorsed moving policies 111, 112, and 113 for second reading. Policies 113.1, 113.2, 113.3, 115, and the deletion of 118 into policy 126 as a first reading. We also discussed policies 121, 124, 126, 127, 130, 137, and 626 in committee. And that's my report.
Program subcommittee, there was no subcommittee meeting this week, and then so last but not least, our ad hoc committee for 2020 was the Articles of Agreement subcommittee. We might dissolve this ad hoc committee this evening, I guess, but would you like to give what I believe to be our final report?
Well, so we brought it to all 3 sending districts, presented it, you passed unanimously at Penridge and Quakertown. It failed at Palisades 7-2. The feedback seemed to be primarily regarding the superintendent rotation and some board members had said that if that part wasn't in there, they would have been more receptive to it. So what I would suggest is that we strike the rotation piece from the amendment and send it back to the sending schools to vote on it, and see if without the rotation piece, if the rest of it is supported to be changed. And I'll also, kind of remind people that there are some changes in there and clarifications, that aren't really, major changes like the big ones that we've talked about that kind of need to be cleaned up as well, that are built into there.
So there's minor stuff in there we should all mutually agree to pass. So, we shouldn't give up.
So what I would suggest is at this point, we send it back to the sending districts without that rotation piece, since that was the sticking point. See if there's enough support, get some feedback about, and if that passes, then that passes. If not, then maybe we even just, then we, again, modify it based on what the, what additional feedback we get at that point. But,
Okay.
But as of right now, that seems to be the sticking point.
So how would you like to go about the next step of the process, which would be editing the final?
I would suggest that we ask Mr. Khan to edit the amendment to remove that language and then send it back out, and then the districts can vote on it again. Maybe it makes sense to send it straight to Palisades, since Quakertown and Penridge both voted on it.
And I think that would be the best.
Rather than because I think obviously Penridge and Quakertown fully
We'll
support it.
wave off on
It's
it again.
Palisades that, we need to find out where they stand on the rest of it.
Jim, you want to say anything?
I think maybe a better way would be to reconvene the committee, come back with a recommendation from the committee, and then discuss it at the JOC, and then have the JOC as a whole.
But we're all going to be reapproving the same thing we already all approved, except for the one name that we're all mutually going to agree that we can take out. I mean,
We know what
That's
the
my
sticking
suggestion.
point was in
You can do it or
Palisades?
not.
It was
Yep,
the
the rotation.
rotation of superintendent?
Yeah.
which apparently only 2 people at your district had a problem with.
No,
Seven.
two people, yeah.
Oh, only 2 people approved of it. Oh, I misunderstood.
So essentially, it was what, a 20-7?
Yeah, add them all together.
But of the 7, several had mentioned that the sticking point for them was the rotation piece of the superintendent, and not wanting to reduce that to a year, that they wanted to keep that as a 2-year. So that's where I think if we remove that piece, then we see where they stand on the rest of it.
Sure, Carl.
And Jim, in your best gut instinct, do you think doing it that way might do the trick, or do you think that there's more involved than what Megan suspects? Because if we need, if there is, we should really, y'all should get together back as a committee then. Kick it.
I don't
I
think
have
it's whether
issues
or not.
with other parts of it, but I can't speak for the other folks.
I could mention one thing, that when the JOC here, or when we get our 5-year comprehensive plan, we'll have a better picture of what the financial implications will be for this moving into the next 5 years.
Talking about capital.
The capital
Yes,
plan, yeah.
yes.
And I think maybe that's the really good starting point in Catalyst, because that's gonna show, what Palisades' impact is, what Penn Ridge's impact is, what Quakertown's impact is. And, we can move forward with that. Also, since part of this is also the food services, when we get closer to presenting our budget for this year, we'll start to see about what the food service costs are for the tech school for this year, because again, this is all, with COVID, we really don't know. And
It's really
the
off.
USDA reimbursements, we really don't know what those numbers look like right now. So, I think that would help to convince possibly the 7 people at Palisades to want to move forward on that.
Well, but I think they recognize that financially this is beneficial to Palisades, so it's whether or not there's a procedural opinion on how it should be done, not necessarily the financial impact. Whether or not they think that formula is the right way to do it or not. I would, it sounded to me, because, I think they understand that financially, it positively impacts Palisades. It's whether or not, and that's why I think, some board members had mentioned that they would have preferred, there are pieces of it that they liked because the financial part. But the sticking point seemed to be, and again, if they vote it down again, then we bring it back again, but.
I'd love to clean up as much as we can.
Yeah.
You guys did a lot of work. If wherever we can find the mutual ground, let's just push that through and then worry about the next stuff, next rendition of the article. So anyway, I'm gonna be on my way out. So, I would have loved to have seen it done on my watch. I'm sorry it wasn't.
We can do this every month if you want.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Motion to approve discussion only on the consent calendar, please. Yeah, someone needs the motion to approve discussion on the consent calendar as presented so that we can talk about it.
Make a motion.
Second, please.
Second.
All right. So I want to pare out certain pieces of this under the personnel recommendation. Before we vote, I would like to pull.
Was there a vote? Was there a vote on the consent? I didn't hear a vote.
No, we didn't.
No, we're discussing.
For discussion.
Okay.
I'd like to pull the executive director goals, which is 4B, I believe, or DB. Personnel recommendations D. On the attachment, it is B. So I just want to make sure I say that so I don't forget. I want to add a motion to this as to accept the resignation of Chuck Kohler effective February 4th, 2021.
Would that be resignation or retirement?
It was retirement. Forgive me. Yeah, it is retirement. I said it wrong. Which I'm very sorry to hear. And then there was one other thing that I was supposed to do. Oh, we got to break off and do an executive meeting before we can talk about this, because if we're going to leave the substitute rates on here, we have to have that whole discussion in the executive committee and breakout room before we even vote. So we're going to do that now. Dennis, we need a breakout room so we can do an executive committee meeting. Can we table it? I was told it needs to be voted on this evening. Am I incorrect?
No, we can discuss it with you, discuss after.
Oh, hold on. I was under the impression it needed to be voted on this evening. So forgive me. Okay. We're going to hold we're going to pull line item D for the new hire. Oh, excuse me. No, E. We're going to pull E.
No, H, I think, wait, no.
No.
Now I'm messing up.
It's not on here. I didn't think it was motion. I think we were just gonna talk about it.
Got it.
Sorry.
I thought it was.
So the only thing you're doing is pulling item B.
I thought it was these pay rates that we were addressing in here for the new hire substitute teacher under E, and that's why. Okay, all right, great. There will be an executive session again after this.
But you added an
I did.
onto the personnel, so you want to make a motion to approve the consent calendar with exception of DA, which is the executive director's role.
I withdraw that.
Of DI.
I would withdraw the
Okay.
D.
I wrote it down.
I withdraw the D.
I know.
I just want to add I to accept Mr. Kohler's retirement.
And remove B.
So I am just adding something to this.
You're removing
But I
B
am
and adding
removing B for the executive director.
You got it, Tracy?
You're removing B and adding I.
Thank you.
So did you make that motion or do you need somebody to make the motion?
But I got to do whatever I want. So I guess I made the motion. I can add it to the agenda because I want to. I don't need a second. Okay.
Well, no, you made the motion, then we need a second, and then we
Yes.
can vote on it.
The motion on the floor.
Oh, that motion. The motion to vote on
On
the
all,
whole
yeah,
item.
vote
Oh,
on
yeah,
it.
no, I didn't make that motion.
Okay.
I didn't, no. But at this juncture,
All right, do you want me to make a motion real quick? I'll make a motion to approve personnel recommendations A, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I.
Correct. All in favor, say aye.
Second. Well,
Aye.
I'll do that.
I
I did. I'll second it.
Then
He said aye like a pirate.
Everybody.
So we're just.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion's passed unanimously.
Now we got A, B, and C.
Consent calendar A, B, and C. All in favor?
Wait,
We
motion?
need a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve consent calendar.
So moved.
Second,
I second it.
Mr. Fumo. It was Mr. Klein and then. Mr.
Yes,
Fumo.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Forgive me for the confusion, everyone. Motion to approve discussion on agenda item number 8, revised policies. Someone needs to approve discussion, please, or motion for discussion. Mr. Hollowell, am I gonna get a second? Robert? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no dissent. Moving on. Agenda item number 9, occupational advisory committee members. Motion to approve discussion on number 9.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mr. Hallowell. Any discussion?
No, I just want to say thank you to all these people that are willing to volunteer their time to come help out and make our programs even better. Thank you.
Which we've discovered is even during their workday. I'm sure they give off at work time too. So, you know, really appreciative of all our OAC members. Thank you so much. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Excellent. Moving on. Joanne, I think it was. I was trying to go off memory. There was a Joanne. Was that open comment?
Dr. Thayer had a public comment on there from the chat.
I know we had at least one person who missed open conversation earlier. You can unmute your microphone.
Yes, I'm
Joanne.
here.
Yes, Miss. Yes. Is that it?
Yeah, I think a number is here that were questioning what your animal vet program plans were as far as providing for your students hands-on experience.
Once we get the building.
Well, right now, the building's still under construction.
Right.
I do not have a occupancy permit to allow anyone in that building. And because of COVID, the large animals and animals coming into the program, we're gonna hold off. I'm hoping that by the spring, because of the uptick in the COVID cases throughout the state, throughout the country, we were gonna take every precaution not to, bring animals in, or not to have individuals bring their animals in to potentially infect any of my students. Right now, we've been in school for 12 weeks, and we're using a modified quarantine method through the Bucks County Health Department, and we're going to continue doing the same because it's working, and we have 727 kids that want to be here, and I don't want to jeopardize their education. So at this point, we did offer, and we do offer SREB. We had a lot of professional development for our instructors to teach. They have to be on notice to go all virtual if it's mandated by the governor. Dr. Herrera can elaborate a little bit on the efforts that we have instituted in the Animal Tech program.
Right. No, and I understand with COVID, things are very, very, different. I just didn't know. I think I'm looking a little farther past that to say, are the plans to bring them back afterwards? Or are you trying to create a more virtual program?
The board of the JOC board and our current healthcare our health and safety plan. We are going full face-to-face 5 days a week until otherwise mandated by the governor. So we're at this point not considering going virtual unless we are mandated by the governor of Pennsylvania.
I think you're misunderstanding my question. I am not talking about virtual with the kids, but virtual learning as far as their experience long-term. You have a wonderful program there. You have a fantastic program with your hands-on with the animals. If you lose that hands-on, your program will be severely affected.
I could address that. We do believe in hands-on program. Our NOCD performance test in terms of the hands-on includes filling a prescription, wrapping a general surgical pack, little restraint, etc., and anatomical identification. I've been in contact with Michael Azzarello, who is the regional NAFTA person. He said our position of trying to get our students into cooperative education, internships, which Mrs. Reese has been working on for a number of years, is the way to go. It gives students an opportunity to work in multiple locations. Also, it's basically an interview. So again, looking forward to working with Mrs. Danka, NAFTA, etc. And we're constantly looking into that. The program will be in good hands moving forward, I can assure you.
Yeah, I think the question too is, do you plan, after COVID is over, to bring the animals back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was never.
Never a question on.
I think that was the question.
I think that was the question. Yeah.
Well, why don't we have the animals here during COVID? Just
Right now,
curious.
there's a recent report that has come out about dog walkers, and you see that with COVID. And in terms of the license, they, in the building, because of the number of students, we determined it would not be in the best interest of the doggy daycare in the classrooms right now because of sanitary.
Is it essentially, person handling dog, other person handling dog? So it's like sharing of equipment, sort of, that I know, like, in our school, they said
Yeah, the germs are gonna stick to their fur.
gym equipment. They can't use hockey sticks and stuff because if two kids touch them, they could essentially pass it. So you're saying the same thing about the animals?
Yeah, if the homeowner brings in a dog on a leash, the dog has to be on the leash. They hand the leash off to my student contracts COVID, close the whole program down, we have nothing.
Right, and that's animals coming in from the outside. Is there a difference if animals are there, not going home, not coming in?
Like your pigs.
And obviously, while you're under construction, you can't do that.
There's never been any, when COVID goes away, if it goes away, whatever it may be. Right now, we're getting to the peak, and I don't want to take any chances. And it's never been a discussion that was never bring these animals back. As Dr. Herrera has mentioned, we are obligated to follow the programs of study and the pass by PDE. Any of the large animals that is brought in by the instructor, that's all added value. Right now, according to our NOCDs, we want to make sure that our students are getting the proper education with the zip code that is accepted by PDE under the Upper Bucks County Technical School. So large animals technically aren't part of that program. Small animals and dogs are. Dr. Herrera did go through the hands-on part of the NOCD test, and we want to make sure that our students are successful in that aspect, and then we can continue to add more added value to that program. The Department of Education does give us the leeway to add added value to the current POS. The current POS needs to be developed. It needs to be taught to every one of our kids and every one of our programs. And as new technology comes in, that's where we have an OAC. The OAC will come in and they will add different techniques that may be out there in our community. So at this point, we're going to focus on, getting our kids, getting that building done, getting our kids back up there, And we have the technology for our kids to learn virtually. We also have opportunities, grant opportunities, to bring in cadavers of animals that was not presented to me to send in. So we have a lot of things going on, and we want to make this, every one of our programs a top program in the state, and that's our goal.
I'd also like to get involved with the humane societies, et cetera. It's something that we haven't been able to. So if any of those parents or any community members have that resource, it's the best practice too, to give those students that experiential learning outside of the classroom.
And since the farm show is virtual this year, maybe we could have the kids raising Tamagotchis, those little animals, and we could present to the farm show.
All right, everybody, come out your electronic course.
But the farm show is also something that the kids were really involved with. And are they doing anything virtual or that our kids are still participating in too?
I don't have the answer to that, but I do know through FFA, it was the first time that everyone had the opportunity to participate virtually. So FFA is a CTSO that we're very proud of. Mrs. Danka and Mr. Dietrich have done a wonderful job of doing that. I've got the pleasure of serving as a judge in those competitions. My former mentor, Nancy Trevette, who was the president of ACP, who's involved with the CASE program, is a huge advocate. So we will explore all those opportunities for our students, the leadership, which is a main component of it. We're hoping that we could get back in there just as much as the teachers and the parents. We understand that, but you're going to be impressed when you see the finished product.
I would like to take a moment here. I have a stack going, and so I have at least 3 people that want to make public comment, and so I'm going to allow them to make public comment at this point. I think Carrie was the first one on my list who gets to go first. Carrie, are you there? Dr. Thayer.
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you okay? Actually, I just kind of cut you off, and I apologize. Do you feel that your public comment is complete?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was my biggest concern, is for the interest of the kids, because we've been working with your students through the program, with them shadowing through our clinic, and obviously with the COVID, hasn't been happening. But the importance of the value of hand-on experience, the same way your video you showed, the hand-on experience of that plumbing, being able to go through your school and put in those fountains, or whether it's your plumbing, heating AC, whether it's your welding program, whether it's your, construction programs. If you haven't had your hands on a nail gun and you've only done it virtually, it's not the same. And that's, the live animals provide that experience for those kids that, from a hiring standpoint, is critical to them.
I think Jeff was pretty, I think we hear you. I think we know there needs to be hands-on, and we need to make sure that they're working with the animals as soon as they can.
Yep.
So
And if you are having trouble getting kids into your clinic, I would suggest calling Dr. Herrera or Jeff Sweet next week or even tomorrow, and they can probably help you.
A lot of legalities with that, et cetera. And I'm not sure if you've gone through Mrs. Reese, but we look forward to partnering with you and working very closely with you on the next phase of development of this program.
Yeah, when everything gets started back up again. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
I thought you were saying that they are still allowed to do a co-op, but they're not doing it here. Did I hear you incorrectly?
Yeah, so cooperative education, cooperative education has never ceased. Matter of fact, as I mentioned during the program meeting, we have 55 students out on co-op, which is comparable than last year, to be honest with you, during the pandemic. So what we're trying to do with the animal tech program is increase those numbers.
Well, maybe Dr. Thayer should reach out to you and she can help.
Yes.
So we can try to facilitate that hands-on through the co-op.
Yes. Internships, job shadowing, et cetera. And I'm looking forward to that phone call.
There's some pretty good valuable feedback in this chat screen, so if you could make sure you read it. Terry, thanks for holding while we wrap that up. I appreciate it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm not going to continue to go on where Dr. Thayer left off. I have some other issues I'd like to discuss. Number one,
3 minutes.
I understand. I understand that there's a lot of impact from COVID, and I know that it's created a lot of headaches for a lot of people, but I'm completely dumbfounded in how the administration has handled the issues with the construction for the animal science building. Our kids have been in school for 3 months. I know that you're saying maybe in November, right after Thanksgiving, they're going to open up. But for 3 months of construction delays, our kids have all worked without their resources, without their equipment, without their hands-on stuff. And I'm not just talking about the animals. They've had no access to anything. When they've asked to get it, they've been told they're not allowed to go into the building because they don't have access. And I work in construction, and I know that there's limitations and everything, but there's always a workaround, and no one has done that. So our kids have been left sitting in a room looking at books. I've heard a lot of stories about how those classes have gone, and they have not been wonderful results from what I'm hearing. I think there's a lot that the administration could do to make this better, rather than just letting it go and hoping it's going to get done soon. The kids need the resources, they need the hands-on materials, they need people to work with them. Additionally, for the 3 years my daughter's been in this program, we've been coming to you guys and talking about the outbuildings. The kids have put a plan together and asked for some resources. And every time we try to get some parents together, some people to do some help here, it's shut down. It's, oh no, we can't do that. We got to wait for something else. The program is awesome. What our kids learn in that program is great. My daughter's looking to go into equine business at Del Val, and she's set up for that between what she's done with 4-H and here at the tech school. But what we're doing to the kids this year, by not giving them the resources they need, is not acceptable. I'd also like you to all know that a lot of the animals the kids have taken home from the school belong to the school and not to the kids. They are fostering those animals while you're out of school. So now these kids are still fostering animals that belong to the school, and you're not allowed to bring them back in to work with. I just believe that there was a lot of things you guys could have done to better anticipate the problems that could have happened, and also to facilitate making things better for our kids. Thank you.
Can you just give some examples of some things that you said were suggested that were shut down? Because I wasn't aware of any suggested things that were shut down.
If you go to any of the outbuildings out there for the animals, there were major issues with the hog pens, which I believe are starting to be repaired finally. There are major issues with all the out sheds for all of the other animals that need repair, and they have not been addressed. I actually came and looked at some of the buildings and talked with Ms. Danka, and her reply back to me, which she said she got the administration, was that we can't have parents coming in and do that. We're gonna do it in-house, and nothing's been done. My daughter is extremely active and in working and trying to get these things corrected and fixed. And I know there's a lot of parents just like me that we're glad to help out and put our resources towards helping get some of these things fixed.
Are you aware of what he's talking about?
So, sir, I'd like to just address your concerns of the outbuildings. My construction and carpentry students last year at the Red Barn, I brought them up and they re-sided the whole barn. They put all brand new T111 on the barn. In the hog pen, they put all brand new windows in. That's all cleaned up. The outbuildings, the little outbuildings, unfortunately, COVID hit March 13th. The animals were already here. So we had no choice other than send them home. And the administration has no, believe me, I'm working here, 7 days a week to try to get that egg building running. Because of COVID, we all know, you said you work in construction, sir, and we all know that everything's shut down for at least a month, and that's everything. So now I have been on my supervisor of maintenance, myself, have been on the contractors every single day to get that building open. When they, it's just because of the lack of materials. When everything shut down, all the manufacturers shut down, all the construction shut down. So when they started that back up again, they are at least a month and a half behind. So when we started the project, we started it you know, and we were hoping that it would happen, but then we ran into the issues, ran into door issues, we ran into metal issues, we ran into glass issues. And believe me, we're working tirelessly to get that building open. And the outbuildings, we started the construction last year, as I mentioned, and here are a couple of pictures. I have my students working. There they go. It's done. They're in. The outbuilding is done. The barn is completely done. You know, so we are making progress. I don't want to bring people from the outside on campus. Our insurance will not cover anybody that gets hurt on campus. So we're going to have our construction and our carpentry. What better way to have those kids go up there hands-on and get those projects completed? You know, and you know, we started that project last year, and you know, COVID hit. You know, and I have no control over, you know, the materials that are being sent in. I have no control over what's going to happen in the future. But what's happening right now is we're working around the clock to get that thing open.
That's an excuse. I'm sorry. That's an excuse. That's not the issue that I brought to your attention. I acknowledged in the beginning, I understand the construction delays. What I don't understand is your reluctance to go into the space, get the materials, the resources, and the equipment that the kids need to learn by. That's unacceptable. And all of the other outbuildings are not ready, and they are not done. And yes, they did do work on the barn last year, but there's still a lot that has to be done. And so they need to take a lead in getting that done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There was Abby T, forgive me.
Yes, hi. I just wanted
Abby,
to.
would you please disclose your last name and town of residence?
My name is Abigail Trotter, and I live in Percy.
Thank you.
May I speak?
Oh, of course.
Thank you. I'm a student at the Upper Bucks County Technical School. I've been a member of the Animal and Vet Science class for the past 4 years. I am a senior this year, and I will say that I have loved this program the entire time that I've been here, and I've learned a lot. I am trying currently to get a job through the co-op program, and Miss Reese has done phenomenal with working with me and working with employers, and I really appreciate her. I will cover the problem with bringing animals in, and I understand the frustration and the problems with COVID and sanitizing. We have come up with a plan for sanitizing with small animals and the entire small animal building. We understand the need for cleaning and the need for sanitization and social distancing and mask wearing. We would really love to get our animals back and get hands-on. As part of me trying to get a job, it's extremely hard because employers don't understand that I don't have anything to practice on right now. Trying to get a vet assisting job with no materials, no animals to practice with. I do have animals at home, but I don't have materials like syringes, needles, just general, like anything that we have in the building, I don't have access to. And it's a bit frustrating on my part, and I know with other students' part, that we can't have access to that, and I just don't understand why we can't bring animals in and work hands-on, just like the other classes are. They work with machines, they sanitize, they move on. Why can't we? I understand no bringing dogs, I understand that, but small animals we need.
Are you done, Abby? Would you say we were concluded?
Yes, I'm complete.
Does anybody have any questions?
So the occupancy permit for the building would put the limitation on that, bringing the small animals in, even to the other part of that building?
Can't bring anybody in.
Yeah, because of occupancy. Yeah, so.
It doesn't matter if it's an animal or human, can't put anybody, because who's gonna watch the animals? A human has to walk in there.
Yeah, and so basically, you know, even though the building looks like it's almost finished, until the township approves it and gives that building occupancy, we can't put animals in there, we can't put kids in there, we can't put teachers in there. You know, we have to get occupancy for the building. It is frustrating. It's frustrating to all of us that it is taking as long as it does, but you know, these aren't windows and doors and clean room products that are just sitting on shelves in building warehouses. These are things that all need to be custom made. So
I understand on that part, pardon me. I'm talking about when we come back, because I know there was a conversation about not bringing animals during COVID because of
I
the
don't think
risk.
anybody really knows where that conversation came from or who made that up.
We can squash that.
Yeah, that can be squashed
we
pretty
can
much
squash that.
publicly right now. You know, whoever spread that rumor
So
erroneously.
So just to be clear, I understand that they can't have access to the building right now for safety reasons, but is it possible for you to reach out to Mrs. Danka and find out if there are certain materials that are in that building that they need access to in the meantime?
I've iterated to Mrs. Banka and her counterpart, George, who's the biotech teacher. Give me a list, or Bill Gerhardt a list, and he will go in and dig all your stuff out and bring it back.
Okay, great. Okay.
So just to touch upon,
In 2 weeks.
And then in 2 weeks, then the use and occupancy, you're saying?
Well,
should be
no.
here?
Well,
We hope.
We hope,
Well,
right.
So-
So, and then, once we get the use and occupancy, our administration can sit down with the teachers in that program and come up with creative ways to make those programs as hands-on as we possibly can, right? Right, and make sure we put in.
And it
whatever
sounds like
safety
they already made a
precautions we need
safety
to
plan.
make it as,
Right.
you know, so it's just a matter of getting that UNO, and then we can come up with, our administration will sit down with the teachers and come up with the best plans to be able to make sure we get this program as hands-on as possible by that point. And one other clarifying question, since usually co-ops are for seniors, are because of this situation, are we now expanding that and allowing kids who aren't seniors yet to do co-ops? Is that what I heard you saying?
Yes.
Okay, great.
so my question was, just to reassure, when we get back into our building, once everything is cleared, we are allowed to have animals back, correct?
Yeah.
Within the COVID.
Yeah, within the COVID.
So as COVID permits at that point.
I think what we're saying is the administration and the teachers are going to sit down and come up with a plan of the safest way to bring as many of the animals in and make it as hands-on as possible within whatever the health and safety parameters are at that time. So the hope is to get as many in as possible, because we want the animals in just as much as all of you do.
Right, and you know, the organization has animals out on the street, so to speak. I mean, there's students literally taking care of our ferrets at home. So, you know, we need to, I guess, we have ferrets, I don't know. It's just
We
making
did,
it up.
I don't know
But I
if
know
we
we have
have
small
more.
animals out, you know, in students' homes that we need to get back to. So, you know, I think hopefully we can put your concerns at ease. Of course, the last 3 months, it would have been great that your 2 months that you would have gotten more hands-on experience. And, you know, we're really sorry that that's not been working out for people that are in your position.
Yeah, and I understand that we don't have, I mean, construction is construction, and I understand that. And I appreciate what Danka has done to try and still teach us recurring with what we have.
We hope that we can make sure that you have as much as possible to make sure that you're as much as possible from you know, moving forward.
The last thing I want to say on the subject is in the task list, and all the students have that, and this is the first year we shared it with parents, and all the parents should have gotten that. It'll say the tasks that we have to follow, and sometimes there's a mix between hands-on and theory. The CASE program through Mr. Dietrich, where the students in animal science got 3 credits at Delaware Valley University last year, didn't have any what consider traditional hands-on. It's an equally based curriculum that the students go through the task list and through other manners. With that said, I don't want to downplay the importance of having animals for restraints, etc. But we're hoping that the theory components are handled now while we're in the classroom. So then once we go back, when the animals come back, all of those skills could be prioritized.
Thank you very much, Michael. Mr. Robert, would you please mute your microphone? I know that there was another comment that was going to have Justin, I believe was the name, Marlon. Did you have something you wanted to say publicly, sir?
What's that?
Did you have something that you'd like to say?
Yes, I work with Dr. Thayer. We do the co-op program. We work with many of your students. I'm a former student myself. And kind of essentially just 3 quick questions on that. As we're hiring with the co-op program, a lot of the big draw is that the students had that hands-on experience. And the worry is right now is a lot of the times when you don't use those muscles, you do essentially forget what you're doing with a lot of that stuff. So kind of bringing them in that, and that brings me to my first question is, when I was in school, Mary Miller brought her dogs on a regular basis. The kids are constantly around Mrs. Danko. Would she be able to bring her own dogs in to have the kids work with? That would be it for my first question. I just have one other one then.
I say no. I mean, we're not having dogs here on purpose. Like, you know, I'm sorry. I'm probably speaking out first. Yeah. I mean, you know, there aren't dogs here in the first place. Why would we let somebody else's dog here for not letting other dogs? Just
the only thought process for me on that is to give the kids a little bit more or something. And that's just because she's in the room with them.
understood. We understand. We wish it could be different.
Okay. The other question is more for the thought process of the parents that are essentially stuck with some of the tech school's animals, taking care of them and stuff like that, that we're signing on for a short period of time, and all of a sudden it became so much more.
Understood. And are you one of those parents that has a tech school animal at your home?
I do not.
No. Okay. Well, if any of those people are listening, we do need to make accommodations for those people if they would like to relieve themselves of those animals. I hope that they know that they could just contact us and we will do everything we can to, you know, take that animal back from them. Am I right, guys? Jeff, Mike, yeah, Chris.
Yes.
I'm getting, you know, an acknowledgement across the board here. So
We do send home food and anything that they need.
Okay. I know, but you know.
Actually, I think I would like to have a list of who has it.
Oh, yeah.
So he's sort of like 6 ferrets.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Ms. Benkin knows as well.
Good.
I'm just making an assumption there. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insert that for you, Justin. I actually thought you were done. I'm so sorry. Did you? So you didn't have any?
No, I was just curious about those 2 subjects mainly, because as a employer, when we're looking at the students from the tech school, that hands-on experience and the recommendation, whether it be from Mrs. Reese or Danka herself, in the past, Mary Miller, was what we were looking for. And now a little bit of the worry is without the hands-on there, do we have to retrain certain things that the kids coming in thinking they know that, but they haven't really had that hands-on experience? It's a lot easier to teach than it is to reteach essentially. And I am done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Corey, I want to just acknowledge I did. All right. We are announcements. The next regular JOC meeting is scheduled for December 17th of 2020 at 8 p.m. It'll be here in the JOC boardroom, but the only people that can attend are on the board and on the administration. Public will be viewing just like you are today, so please check the website for the Zoom meeting information. That meeting will also be it's not written on here, but it is our restructuring meeting, where we will be electing a new chair, co-chair, and treasurer for the 2021 year. Any final JOC concerns before we break?
I think you already announced that we're gonna have an executive session afterwards.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Maybe by purpose. Yeah, there's going to be an additional JOC meeting, so board members, please don't leave. Everyone else, thank you very much for joining us, and stay safe and wash your hands. This meeting is adjourned.
Dave, do you need me to stay?
Ellis?
Do we need Ellis?
Probably,
Ellis, why don't you hang out?
Okay.
We're gonna talk about pay rate for,
I gotta,
you gotta go?
I gotta
You should probably stop recording.